All right, so this is from the Destiny 2 team. During Rite of the 9, each dungeon will be available for 3 weeks before rotating. There will be a final week when all 3 dungeons will be playable. The schedule is Spire of the Watcher, May 6th to May the 27th. Ghost of the Deep, May 27th to June 17th. Prophecy, June 17th to July 8th. And then all dungeons available, July 8th to July 15th. Each week will provide additional quests for Holofools to help Guardians get their hands on curated gear alongside dungeon exotic rewards. I don't know why. There's gotta be an, here's my guess. I think that Prophecy is going to have some sort of narrative cutscene in it and it's not ready yet. Or maybe it is and they don't want us to see it yet because they want it to be more impactful. That's what I'm thinking. For them to save Prophecy to the last, it still doesn't make it right. But that's just what I'm thinking. For them to save it until June, I'm thinking that they don't want us to, or they either don't have it completely ready, or they're worried that the narrative will be lost before we get into Frontiers. Prophecy has got to have something in it. It's a huge L though. 3 weeks running 1 dungeon. Are they insane? Yeah, no. It never should have been 3 weeks. I don't even care if they did Spire of the Watcher and just Ghost of the Deep. Why not just do Spire of the Watcher, Ghost of the Deep, Prophecy, rotate it week to week, then release whatever. If there is a cutscene, then release the cutscene on the final week, just right here during July 8th to July 15th. So like when we load up in Prophecy right now, or if we were say Prophecy was launched this week, we would just play the regular version of the dungeon. It would still be the Ultimatum version, the Holofoils. But if there's a cutscene associated with Prophecy, just roll it out the final week. I don't want to like derail the Doom stream too much here, guys. Man, dude, I just feel like the momentum has really shifted here. I feel like the momentum has shifted here in comparison to what we experienced last year with Into the Light and Pantheon. Dude, it just seemed like we were getting, you know, just new content almost every week. And it was just each one was escalating things further and further. You know, we had Into the Light coming, and really it started, you got to keep in mind, last year, things started with Guardian games. For some reason, Guardian games was pretty hyped last year. You had the skimmers that came in. Then right after that, we had Into the Light. You had this huge layout of weaponry, which was weapons we all coveted that we knew we would want to use against the Witness. And then on top of that, Onslaught was completely different. And even though it, you know, may not be for everyone, and I didn't necessarily, you know, it kind of ran its course by the time we got to Revenant in that episode. When it first rolled out, guys, it might have been the most I have ever played Destiny. We lived in Onslaught. And then to top it off, Bungie launches Pantheon, where we've got these raid rotations every single week with, by the way, have been changed with the double rolks and all the different various changes to mechanics, all of which was preparing us for the hardest raid Bungie was going to give us, which was Salvation's Edge. I believe if I had not played Pantheon leading up to Salvation's Edge, I don't think I would have been able to complete the day 1 raid. I think it was Pantheon putting us into raid boot camp that got me prepared for Salvation's Edge. The difference is this was, I guess you could say it was old content, because it was like, some people say, well, Onslaught, that's new, but it was on PvP maps. It was new enough. Pantheon, yes, it was old raid mechanics, but it felt new. Spire, Ghost, and Prophecy so far has felt more old than new. I do like the weapons. I like the holofoils. I'm glad we have attunement. And I think a huge purpose of them doing this exercise is to essentially get new players into dungeon content, especially with the Explorer mode, to show them how to do these mechanics. And I understand that. But with this type of time frame here, where it's 3 weeks per dungeons, this kills momentum. And it also tells me that, are we not going to get Pantheon? Are we not going to get, like, it's like, maybe we are, but I'm starting to think maybe we're not. Because my expectation was Rite of the 9 was Into the Light, and then we were going to get a Pantheon refresh. So I was under the expectation that, you know, we would get 1 dungeon per week, okay? Roll it out a couple times, right? Everyone's getting their drops or loot. Momentum is continually climbing. And then the last month would be, you know, when I say the last month, from like June 17th to July 15th, boom. Now you've got your month of Pantheon. Here we go, back to raid boot camp again. And that momentum would then carry into the next expansion, which would then carry into the next new raid. I'm not trying to come off as a Debbie Downer here, guys. You know, everybody always comes in here and says, oh, Cross, you're rage baiting again. I just think that, you know, I'm only comparing this to last year, okay? The year prior. And I felt like Bungie had a really good blueprint for generating hype. And I don't know why we're deviating from that. It also doesn't make sense because I thought in the stream when Bungie was first talking about Rite of the Nines, I thought in the stream they mentioned it was going to be a dungeon per week. So they did. They did say it during the stream that Rite of the Nines would be 1 dungeon per week. Dude, I think they were good. I think that Pantheon, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Pantheon was probably going to be a thing. Maybe something happened internally. Maybe they don't have the resources to pump out Pantheon. Perhaps everyone's just focused on Frontiers. Maybe Marathon, you know, I don't know. Because it would have made the timetable here would have made so much more sense to roll out a dungeon per week. And then the last month here, because imagine this, if Bungie is suddenly met with the, all right, we can't do Pantheon. We don't have the ability to add these different various encounters and give the double rolks or whatever. So we need to stretch this out. This just looks like, okay, make up space, take up space here, right? Give us an extra 30 days, add on 2 more weeks per dungeon, and make up for what Pantheon would have filled. Hold on, let me see what Salt has to say here. Okay, so right here, hold on.
Spire is the featured dungeon. So there's going to be one of these 3 dungeons featured during each week of the event on a sort of rolling basis.
Okay.
Hello? God, okay. That's why you just blew my ear hole out. Yeah, it is vague. It is vague. Dude, guys, this is my opinion. My opinion is I think we were supposed to have Pantheon. It doesn't look like we're going to get a Pantheon. It also looks like, because again, it would have been these 3 dungeons from May 6th to June 16th, June 17th. And still, you could still play them after that. But then this final month would have been just Pantheon. Or the focus would have been on just Pantheon. And I guess all 3 dungeons would have been available. D3 is probably in the works. Mr. I need to stop you right there. See, that's that thing that's going to get us all fucked. Okay? All right? Find with the marathon emblem next to your name. I need you to hold up. All right? We cannot go through this bullshit of copium for the next fucking 4 or 5 years where you guys are sitting there saying, don't worry, the reason why we're lacking content right now is because behind the scenes, Destiny 3 is being made right now. Look, there is no Destiny 3. And I won't believe it until Bungie literally comes out and says, hey, we are making a Destiny 3. Not Destiny Payback, not Destiny Rising, a Destiny 3. This 4-second tweet is now a 14-minute video. I'm not trying to make it a 14-minute video, guys. I really, look, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you with the, the doomsday posts. I'm concerned. This concerns me. All right. I'm just letting you know, guys, I'm a little concerned. Okay. Forgive me for bringing it up. Dude, I was hyped by what I saw last week, and I'm still hyped about what's to come in Apollo, but I'm concerned. Just a glimpse into the future, going to be lots of downtime. We'll see. I think I don't know what's going on. I think in terms like internally at Bungie, but I'm sure the reception for Marathon didn't necessarily go as planned, and doesn't seem like that game is going to get pushed back. It seems like that game is still coming out in September, and I know it's 2 separate teams working. You know what I mean? You got your Destiny team, and then you got your Marathon team. But I'm just concerned that Marathon that's such a big focus right now to get out the door that it will in some way, indirectly and directly, hinder Destiny. It was supposed to be a closed alpha with an NDA. Yep. And look, doing a closed alpha with an NDA is fine. Arc Raiders did the exact same thing. We were under NDA for 2 years. Get that, 2 years. They were already doing alpha testing over 2 years ago. Arc Raiders is ready to come out. It's ready to compete. Marathon, they wanted to do an alpha NDA close test just a mere 4 months away from its release. You know what I mean? The timetable, it's not leaving them a lot of runway there to work with. Be real, if you were one of us, saw what we saw, would you buy and invest time into Marathon? What the f does that mean? If I was one of you, motherfucker, am I not playing video games just like you? What kind of a statement is that? If you were one of us, what does that even mean? You act like I have equity in Bungie. You act like, hold on. No, for real. Some of you act like we have equity in Bungie. We're on Bungie's payroll. You guys are crazy. First up, legally, it's not allowed. Legally, it's not. No, you can have equity in a company, but you got to disclose that shit. Secondly, Secondly, when would I get equity? At what point in conversation would Pete or anyone at Bungie have approached me to be like, hey, well, as you know, executives love to give away ownership. And Cross, we think you're that guy. We saw your monetization video where you completely ripped our assholes apart. And for that, we want to give you roughly 2%. Dude, no one, fucking no one. You hear me? You're out of your mind. You think that I was approached at any point by Bungie with fucking money in hand for what? All right, yeah. Topic of marathon, whatever. It's whatever at this point. Let's get back on topic. The main point is the blueprint that was used last year going into final shape was a fantastic blueprint, Bungie. And I feel like this year you're trying to do that same blueprint, but with much less investment. And I just don't think it's going to generate the same momentum. Oh man, this is what's so wrong with the gaming world, dude. Listen, on paper, final shape would be looked at in the executive's eyes, in the live service model, as a failure. And the reason why I bring that up is because Bungie hates that their numbers dropped off after the final shape. On paper, I'm telling you, some at Bungie, executives higher ups, they look at final shape and they go, yes, it's got good ratings, but it had substantial player drop off. And so my biggest concern is they walk away from that going, it was a failure. I cannot stress how wrong that stance actually is. Final shape, the way they delivered it, the lead up to it, the way we took out the witness from the campaign to the raid, the 12-man activity, perfection. It could not have gone any better. You've got the blueprint, Bungie. Episodes did not hit. But let me just say this, not much would have hit after that. You just gave us the highest of highs. So Bungie, at some point, you may make the decision, shall we avoid the highest of highs and just give you middle of the pack, mediocre content dragged out over a year-long period? You could. And just maybe your player base might look a little bit better. Maybe the Steam charts would be a little bit higher. But dude, you're going to have some angry-ass players. Telling you. Heresy was good. Yeah, Heresy was good. Heresy has been the best episode by far, and I've really enjoyed it. We'll see, man. We'll see what ends up happening. A simple read the tweet and say, damn, okay, well, that is what it is. Would have been perfect. But now it's a 40-minute video on some bullshit. Jumping. Here's the thing. You could start from the back of my ass and work your way to the front. But before you get there, give me that side to side. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing. I will fucking talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about for as long as I want to fucking talk about it. I will spin here. I will stay on this motherfucking tweet for the next 12 goddamn hours. You know what? I'm going to go take a shit right now. And I'm going to leave this tweet right here for you. And you know what? We're going to include that in the cut. The cut will now be longer. It will now just be me shitting in the background. My toilet is right fucking there. I'm able to make eye contact with this tweet and you guys taking a shit right fucking there. A mere 4.5 feet away is my fucking shit. I'm gonna go take a shit right now. I will return in just a moment. But this video just got a lot fucking longer because of your fucking comments. So everyone, read this tweet for as many times necessary.
A few moments later.
Hey chat, I'm taking a shit. And you're in here with me.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.